Yo,
Mark,
what's up?
what's up, dude?
Not much.
I'm glad I nailed you down for this chat.
Hell yeah. Let's
we
do this.
we hooked up randomly. You slid into my DMs, or maybe I slid
That's
into yours.
yeah, that's right. It's the way to do it now.
And I like was going through your Instagram. You know, we were going back and forth, and I was like checking this dude out. I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, fuck, we're like the same dude. You're like my
Yeah.
Canadian doppelganger. I was like, this dude's
Yeah.
into Volkswagens, coffee, punk rock,
Yeah.
underground hip hop, van shoes, hot sauce. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, man.
Have we not met each other before this?
I know it's crazy.
Dude, it's awesome. Thanks, dude. Thanks for
Yeah.
doing the podcast with me. I'm like
No, thanks for having me, man. This is awesome.
super stoked to talk to you. So like
Hell yeah.
usually just dive in with these things on like right off the bat. Like how did you even get into Volkswagens? Because otherwise like we wouldn't even be talking if it wasn't for these little
That's right.
cars.
It's kind of like a funny story. My mom, like for Christmas every year, she would buy me and my dad this book about cars. Like you have every single years of cars and like the concept and whatever. And I was pretty young at the time, and I was just like, going through it and looking at the Viper and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Being a kid. And one day, out of nowhere, I was looking at the pages and I saw the Corrado. It was
Ooh.
1991. The car was red in that book. And it was G60, and I'm like, G60, what the hell is that? So I start reading. It's like supercharged engine. I'm like, what? Supercharged? What is that? So then my uncle and my dad are like big hot rodders. And I'm
Nice.
like, Dad, what the hell is a supercharge? He's like, hold on, we'll go to your uncle. I'll show you. So we go to my uncle, and he popped the hood on this like Camaro, whatever. And then there's that massive like chrome block, and I'm like, what the hell is that? He's like, that's a supercharger. I'm like, okay, okay. Then I'm like, awesome. Then that was it, right?
Just bit. How
So
old were you
just
when how old were you
oh,
when like a
I was
little kid?
probably like, yeah, man, like 9 or 11, something like that.
Nice.
So then that was it, right? It was
hmm
just I was
The
impressed by that
G60
supercharge.
Corrado got you
Yeah,
got
dude.
you locked up.
So, and then years goes by, and I'm still interested in cars because I mean it's something in my family as well. And we used to go to like the barbecues and like the hot rods and that kind of stuff. And then
Nice.
one day, one day I'm walking with my friend because I used to ride BMX like that was like my religion, man. Like punk rock, BMX, drumming, that was it, right?
Right,
So I
dude.
was spending a lot of time. So me and my friends are like bombing in my town, and like I heard something. I'm like, what the hell? This is kind of cool. Then a G60 91 red just drive like blows by me.
The
I'm like,
car you
what
saw
the
in the
dude?
magazine or the
And
whatever.
what blew my mind was the wing that was going up, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, so I just like I was pedaling, dude, as fast as I could to catch it because there's like a light coming up. So, anyways, I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is cool. So that ended up being the car of like a friend that was his cousin that was coming back to town
Oh,
because I'm
nice.
from a tiny little fisherman town, dude, with like 5,000 people. Everyone knows everyone. So I end up talking to that dude. I'm like, dude, can you please pop the hood? He's like, yeah, no, not a problem. So he opens the hood, and I'm like, wow, this is it? Like, where's that big chrome block that my dad was talking about? Where's the supercharger in this? So,
That's hilarious.
anyways, so that's it, right? I was pretty stoked on V Dubs at that point. I was like, okay, that's cool. So then Fast and Furious kind of like comes
Mm.
out.
Mm-hmm.
And that Jesse dude, man, is like, that Jetta. I'm like, okay, I'm not in love with it, but this is kind of cool. So a guy, like a couple towns away from mine, about like 35 minutes from it, he
mm-hmm.
did a replica of it, but his car had a
Oh,
VR, man. And I
nice.
was
This is
like,
better than the movie
what?
car.
Dude, he was revving it. And I'm like, what the? I just walked right to him. I had no idea who he was. I'm like, dude, what the hell is this? And he opens the hood, and it's a VR6. And I'm like,
Sick.
VR6? This is pretty dope. I like the sound of this. This is
Yeah.
rad. So then that really piqued my attention. That's when that I was like probably like 16, just before my license.
Nice.
And my story is a bit like Colin's. It's similar story. My dad was not into it, did not want me,
Mm.
and he was choosing the car I'm gonna have. And I'm like, come on, man, like let me. So in my town, there's a 99, I think it was a 1992 Jetta diesel, like a 1.6 turbo diesel. It
Nice.
was for sale. It was like the that like tri brown interior, you know, like beige brown, and it was
Mm-hmm.
so dope, dude. It was like cool brown, and it was still good looking because
That's awesome.
it was like maybe like it was not very old then,
Right.
so it was for sale, and I was like, man, Dad, that's the car I want. He's like, no, 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 I'll pick the car, you know. Dude, of all the cars, he buys me a Hyundai S Coupe.
What?
The
Your
ugliest thing
hot
ever.
rod
It's
dad?
like, yes, man. I
Come
was like
on,
so
pops.
I was, yeah, dude. I was so disappointed. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Anyway, so he got me that car, and I learned how to drive stick and whatever. It was
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah, a
I was
car's a
not
car,
stoked.
dude.
But then my buddy Paul calls me and he's like, dude, I just got a car. And I'm like, are you kidding me? What is it? It's like, I'll come to your house. Man, he shows up with a big bumper, GTI
Mark too.
Mark II red. I was like, holy cow. And then my cousin Max shows up. He has a white Jetta 92.
No.
I'm like, oh, dude, are you
So all
kidding
your
me?
homies and your cousins are into the V Dubs too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sick.
So, and then I was like talking with them about it, and they're like, "Yo, we just send money orders to the states. We're getting parts from Tectonics and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "What is that? Tectonics? That sounds cool." And Paul is like, "Yo, like there's that magazine from overseas called PVW," and I'm like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's like we're." So to get that magazine, my mom had to drive me 3 hours from my hometown to get it, and
Whoa,
she,
dude.
oh yeah, and she
Hold
did
on.
several times.
Hold on. I want to
Oh yeah.
know what this conversation is to convince your mom to drive 3 hours to get a magazine. Because I'd be like, hey, mom, check it out. There's this magazine I really want, but we have to drive 3 hours. And she'd be like, no, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what was the like sugar coating. I was like, Mom, you can go to Costco and then we can grab the magazine. It's like helping each other. And
Nice.
yeah, and a few times she did, and I finally got the in the like mid 2000, well not the mids, but it's like early 2000, let's say
Hmm.
like 2001, 2002. So then that's how I really got into Volkswagen is because of them. Then a Montana Green showed up in my hometown, and
Oh,
I was like, dude, that
that's
car
like
was
one of my
so good.
favorite colors,
Oh
dude.
yeah,
Montana
and the
green,
guy,
surf green. Those two are probably my like
yeah,
favorite.
and for the time, the guy did it right. It was on H&R Springs, but they go really low.
Hmm.
Like they're like 80, 60, man. Like
Hmm.
that thing was slammy, it was breaking everything, and I was like, you are sick, man. So and then when I got a little older, I had still have that piece of junk, and it finally blew up, and I was ready to go to college and stuff. And
Hmm.
I'm like, listen, I work construction with my dad really hard, and I'm like, I got some money, I want a car. So I bought myself a 2003 GTI. It was
Nice.
a non-sunroof one because that's what I wanted because I
Hmm.
had plans. It was on Long Beach. It was, pretty much stock. I was pretty pumped on it. It was black. I was like, hell yeah. But
Nice.
what kind of made me sad it's like 2 months after the 20th anniversary came out,
Oh,
and my favorite car of all time was the Jazz Blue. And I was like,
yes.
are you dude, I was still stoked on my car, but I was a little sad inside of me because I was like, man, that's not what I wanted.
That's
That's what
funny.
I you know
Dude, so I actually, before I got my Mark IV R32, I walked into a Volkswagen dealership
Yeah,
close to the town that I was living in California at the time, and they had a Mola Yellow 20th. And, they
so
didn't
good.
make very many of them, so not many dealers
No.
around my area got very many of them. So I was like, holy shit. And I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, I'm going to buy this thing. And one of the sales guys that was there was like, hey, dude, um, you want the 20th? I'm like, yeah, dude, this thing's sick. He's like, dude, R32s are going to come out in like a couple months, man. So
No way, and that's why you waited.
I waited. Otherwise, I
Oh,
would have bought. I mean, I got PVWs, and they were out in PVWs like a year or two before
yeah.
they
Oh
came
yeah,
out here,
same. I
right? So I
saw
would
them.
see
Yeah,
them, but I didn't
yeah.
really follow like the manufacturer trends at that time and be like, oh, R32s are going to
Right.
release in the United States or whatever. And so yeah, I was at that dealership, and he was like, "Yo, dude, I would just save your money and get a Mark IV R32. They're gonna be all-wheel drive, VR6, 3.2 liter." He's like going down the whole thing, and I was like, "All right, man, put me on the list."
Sold. Yeah. So when I got that black car, I had tons of like ideas because again, reading PVW like cover to cover, like every like single, I would read the same magazine like 4 times. So I was so like amp on that stuff. I'm like, there's people out there doing cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, you know what I mean? I'm in the wrong place. Like, I need to get out of here. So I went to school and stuff, and the car kind of stayed stock for the most part because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, college and stuff, you don't really have money. So I was like, I was still, dude, 180s are pretty fun. Like it
Yeah.
was decent. I was faster than most Civics in my town and stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with it. It was
Nice. Did you
decent.
do anything? Did
Um,
you do any small stuff to it, like maybe
that came
springs or?
that came after. So I started reading heavy about it, and then APR came, and they had tunes and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. So I went to a shop called Concept One that's up here, and it's a big Volkswagen shop. And I
Nice.
legit did everything that same day. I got wheels, which is the only fake split I ever owned in my life. I'm sorry about that,
They were
but
your first wheels, dude. It's all
yeah. So
good.
they're actually TSWs, and they're pretty decent, I guess. They're like black on
TSWs aren't
black.
bad.
Yeah, it was all right. So I got springs. I got FK silver lines.
Nice.
I got that the same day. I got front mount intercooler, downpipe, full exhaust, intake,
Wow.
tune, all the same day, man. Because I was so like the drive home was crazy. I was like, oh my
I
god,
bet
this car is
you just got
crazy.
hooked up with all the bolt-ons. You went from
Yeah,
stock
man, like
to hooked
stock
up.
to like yeah. So that was I was really like stoked on that car. Then my life kind of like changed a little bit because I was work like up here like the oil industry is really like heavy, so I was doing
Hmm.
that, been pretty miserable. And then my friend was like, "Yo, we're moving to Whistler to go snowboarding." I'm like,
Sick.
that sounds amazing. All
Hmm.
right, I'm in. So I moved to Whistler, and
Awesome.
so my car stayed in like a storage for a while,
Hmm.
because I didn't really want to bring it there because you don't really need it and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, so it stayed in storage for a while. Then when all that, I started getting hurt really bad. So I was like, okay, maybe I should like mellow out on the snowboarding. So then I took that. So I moved to the like Vancouver City,
Hmm.
and I was on vacation home, and I left the car behind the house, and they stole the car.
Oh, what?
Yeah, dude, they busted the window, and somehow, man, they're pretty smart because when I looked underneath the dash, they had some sort of wiring underneath the OBD2 port,
Oh
so they
shit.
can like start it. Because man, if a newer VW is pretty difficult
Yeah,
to steal, right?
immobilizers and all the stuff.
That exactly. So they must have known what they're doing. But what the crazy part is, they stole all the like the wheels, the suspension, and some of the bolt on, but not all of it, and they left my car on like blocks.
Wow.
Then the impound got a hold of it, and then I was like, man, I had a weird feeling. I called my roommate. I'm like, dude, is my car still in the back? He's like, yo, your car's not there, man. I'm like,
Oh
what?
shit.
Freaked out, and I called the cops. The cops gave me phone numbers to some other places. Finally, I got the car, and
Oh man.
I was heartbroken, man.
Dude.
So so I knew a guy through like some friends in the scene that was working at a dealership. I called him. I'm like, dude, I need a major favor. He's like, what is it? I'm like, do you have any stock suspension by any chance and like some wheels?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'll see what I can do. He shows up with like some sort of Sprinter van. I can't remember what it was, but some sort of van. And he opens the back door and he had everything, man. So we put the
Nice.
car back. Yeah, we put the car back together. Well, stock suspension. He had Monte Carlo wheels, and he had
Nice.
like a stock airbox or whatever. So I got my car back, which was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then I was like, I was kind of done. School was not going well, so I was like, okay, I'm moving back where I was working in the old sense. So I moved back there,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, I need to do something with this car. It's getting kind of boring. And then I kind of gave up on it, to be honest. And then I got a PVW, and in that PVW, it was I don't know if you remember Joe Zeus. He built that crazy like German auto German caddy. It was like slam on BBSRS. He had a front lip. It was all rusty, and he had a crazy engine bay.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think I
if that
remember that
ring a
car.
bell.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so that caddy kind of like opened up everything for me. I was like, man, Mark ones are dope. Like, and I mean, I was seeing them a lot, but they're all the same kind of like bathtub with a chrome engine in it. And I was like, not really my cup of tea. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
not too stoked on that. So I was like searching online, and I found this white caddy for sale and with red interior, and I was pretty
Nice.
bone stock. So I was like, okay, this is it. So it was diesel 1.6 NA, nothing fancy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got that, and then my Mark IV was just basically my daily.
Did you keep
So
it? Was the Mark IV still pretty stock? when you got into the
Yeah,
caddy?
yeah, it was, yeah.
Okay.
And I found another set of long beaches and I put them on and I lowered
Nice.
it again and but that's it, right? Like it was basically stock. So and
Mm-hmm.
then I got the caddy and then that's when that's when the Volkswagen like kind of craze started. So, custom obsession. My one of my really good friend. Like he's like my mentor, man, my sensei. Like he's
Nice.
like he's the one that legit was the guy that was answering my dumb question because I got into turbos and he legit went from nothing to everything. He has a like in the nines. He has a Mark III race car that's in the
Nice.
nines, man.
Dude, that's
And
quick.
so he was putting on a show back home, which is I'm from like the east coast of Canada, and he was putting like this show on.
Mm-hmm.
And he one day he's like, okay, he built a rabbit that was in PVW, and it's called Silly Rabbit. It was like an orange Lambo orange, and he had a 16 valve turbo.
Nice.
That that car is like what changed everything. Like he had a CAE shifter, never seen one in my life. I
Mm.
was touching it, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then that thing at the time had probably like close to like 380, 400 horse. And he gave me a ride and I'm like, oh my God,
Dude.
hooked. I was hooked,
Yeah.
man. Flew back home and I was like, I was telling my dad about all those crazy things. And I'm like, okay, I want to do something cool. And with the caddy. So I took the caddy apart and funny story, you're a friend with the dude that it's like part of my story. So I shaved the bay, I shaved the gas door, I shaved the
Dang.
wipers, I shaved
Wait,
everything on
hold
that
on.
thing.
Were you learning body work on this car?
Yeah,
You just,
yeah, pretty much.
I'm just gonna
I
do this.
Yeah, I just out of nowhere, man. My buddy had a welder, and I'm like, let's do this. I
Dude,
start
that's
cutting
sick.
stuff. I wasn't sure what I was doing. I was like asking question here and there. I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. Then for like the side panel where the gas cap is, I brought it to a body shop. The body shop told me that they sandblasted the whole truck and everything was fixed fine. And I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had to pick a color, and the color is very not the same, but very close to Thomas Tuning's
Dude,
caddy.
I was gonna ask you about that caddy because
Yeah,
I saw it scrolling through, and that's the first thing I thought when I saw it. I was like,
yeah.
dude, this looks
So
exact like the color is like almost identical to the TST
yeah, man.
caddy.
So the crazy part about that, 9 months prior to that was when I got the truck started to get painted.
Mm-hmm.
9 months after that, his truck came out in PVW. I had no idea. Like and people were like really being like pretty mean. Like they're sending
Oh,
like
dude.
messages. They're like, "What the hell, man? You couldn't pick another color, like copycat, blah blah blah." I'm like,
Oh,
"What?"
that's a
I was like,
bummer.
"Whatever." Yeah. So the biggest bummer about that truck and was they didn't do what they said they will. And when I
Mm.
opened the hood, they like covered the bay with some sort of like I don't know, like undercoating. I was like, "What the hell?" I was
Mm.
so bummed out, and
Like
then that
bed
bummed me
liner?
out. Yeah, man, pretty much. So I get the truck back, and I'm like, I'm building a 16 valve turbo for it. So I had at the time I had Mega Squirt and all that,
Mm-hmm.
learning again all that stuff. I did like the flip beam in the rear, and then narrowed it, and I
Mm-hmm.
had like super wide BBS on it, and
RS's, right?
RSs, yeah.
Sick.
So I built those, and then I got new lips for the front, and then the front wouldn't fit properly, and I was like, oh my god, that was a disaster. So, anyways, like I got it, the stands kind of decent. Then I start working in a Volkswagen shop in the meantime. So I brought the truck there with me, and my boss was like, okay, it's cool, you can work on it,
Mm-hmm.
after hours and stuff. And when all that stuff was going on, I was like, okay, I was starting to see people doing 180s.
Mm.
And to me, like 16 valve was so old school, and I was like, okay, it's cool, but eh. So then we got a crash Passat that had a 180. I'm like, oh, dude,
Nice.
okay, all right, I'm in. This is it. So
Was it an
I
A?
got
Was
that.
it an AEB?
It was a no, it was an AWW. It was a
Oh,
2003 Passat.
nice.
So I got that engine and the ECU, the harness, whatever I needed. And at the time, not many people were making mounts for this thing. It was pretty new.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the mounts from a company called WRD Racing.
Yeah, I remember
And they're
WRD.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they're making the mounts, and I like search on Vortex and everything, and then I finally found the mounts, and I put that thing 180. Dude, it was so sick. Like
Sick.
it was really fun. So life got in the way, and I parked that truck.
Oh.
And yeah, and I started building my Mark IV like heavy, dude, heavy.
So the
So I,
daily, so the
yeah, the
daily you
daily,
had that got
yeah,
stolen,
yeah,
recovered, became
yeah,
the daily, just through
yep,
maybe a little bit of suspension, some long beaches on it,
that's
cruising
right.
it. Then you
Yeah,
get this caddy.
yeah,
You go kind of level 9 on the caddy
yeah.
and then part it out.
Uh, pretty much, yeah. It
Okay.
was not really a power, like it was not at that point. I think it was all together, but it was in my storage just sitting because I was not happy with some of the stuff.
Okay.
And like I was not happy with the fitment of the wheels. I was not happy
Mhm.
with the engine bay. All that stuff was making me a little sad because in a sense, like it was my first like big swap.
Yeah.
So the harness was not very nice. I was like,
Mm.
whatever. So I parked it for quite some time. Then I went heavy on the Mark IV.
Nice.
So I stripped the Mark IV and I started doing the engine bay and all that stuff, and I was learning, and that would be like probably like 2000, like 10 maybe, or
Okay.
maybe earlier, or 8. No, actually, it was way earlier than that. Jeez, it was like I think 2007, 2008 was the, yeah, 2007, 2008. Because wait, my dates are wrong here. Okay, I got the caddy painted in 2009,
Uh-huh.
and then my Mark IV stuff was a little bit before. Oh yeah, actually it was a little bit before that. Anyways,
Okay.
so 2000, let's say like 2008, I started heavy on the Mark IV. So I got Euro bumpers, I got like AMG wheels, I got air ride, and like John was saying, back in the days it was not really easy. There's not like bolt-on kits
Right.
ish, you know.
Yeah.
So I did manage to get airlift rear bags at the time because they start making that cup kit and all that stuff. The
Mhm.
front, I had sleeve bag at first. It was the worst ride ever. And then I changed for Mason Tech, and that was way like it was awesome.
Yeah.
And
Kind
so
of like the
and
same
then
kit John had on Blue
pretty
Bags, what he
similar,
started
yeah,
with.
yeah, pretty similar. It was like just a single compressor, 5
Mhm.
gallon tank, like the this you know.
Yeah.
So then I did like the full Euro interior. I did the stubby mirrors. I shaved the roof, so I had no antenna, no nothing. It
Nice.
was like clean
Yeah,
roof.
dude. I did that to my Mark IV too.
Yeah, man, I shaved the hatch. So I did like a bunch of little subtle stuff because I wanted to kind of keep it like OEM plus because it
Yeah.
was like legit. Everything was Euro, and I had like so. Then like yeah. So we start taking pictures of it. The car was not finished, man. You know,
Mm.
and but everyone was so excited about it because it was really crazy. You know,
It
you
sounded
don't
like
see
a
like
dope car.
yeah, you don't really see European stuff that much around, and people would do cool stuff, but that was different.
Mhm.
So I was waiting for my rub strips, but my friend Rob was like, "Man, please put the wheels on because the wheels had the wrong fitment. They poke way too much. Because I bought my wheels from VR Wheels and they sent me the wrong offset. So when I purchased
Oh.
the adapters, it was totally wrong, right? So that was a bummer too. But I was like, whatever. I was rocking them because I was pretty pumped. Um, so we did that photo shoot that I sent you the pictures.
Yeah.
Like, need money for camber. Oh my god, dude!
I'm going to post
What
those
a
up
yeah.
on the
So what
Facebook
a
group.
so what a crazy riot that was. So what happened? Those pictures are not supposed to leak, but my friend Justin got a hold of the pictures and he put them on Dope Shiz of all places. Dope Shiz on the Vortex. I'm like, are you serious, dude? Within like 7 minutes, I had like 97 messages of hate, man.
Oh,
Like,
what?
oh yeah, it was
Those are the
awful, dude. Yeah,
Vortex days.
oh my god, keyboard warrior. Those people probably had white and steelies and Mark threes hating, And he's like, yo, like give those pants back to your sister and like go back to. Well, I was like, oh my god, they just destroyed me. I was so sad, dude. I just
Dude.
left the scene. I left the
Oh,
scene.
man.
I took the car apart in my storage unit,
So
and
hold
then I
on.
went.
Hold on.
Yeah,
That's how you ended up with your username, right? No poke, no love.
yes, no poke, no love was
Because
because
of
of that.
all of that.
Yeah,
Dude,
all that.
that's so gnarly, man. That
Yeah,
fucking
it was man, I couldn't believe it. I was like, why people have so much hate? You have people with like -11 camber and you're okay with that and like you didn't even ask any question. They're like, "Where's your rub strip, man?" and blah blah blah. They're like going on and on. I'm
Oh, dude.
oh, dude, I was reading all the message that they're posting and I was like, "Oh, that was so awful." So then I put the car in the storage unit beside
Mhm.
the caddy, and I stripped it, man. Like
Oh.
stripped it. and I
You're just
start
over
shaving
it.
the bay. Oh yeah, I start shaving the bay, and I start doing like crazier stuff. And then
Mm,
I legit had everything. I had a 6-speed swap for it. I had like straight cut gear. I had like big turbo. I had like build head. I had like a
dude,
build fully built engine stroker, and the stroker kit was not even available at the time. We pieced it all together and made it work. My friend
sick,
was a machinist, so he machined the gear for the oil and all that stuff. So we
dude.
made it happen. So all that with all in boxes around my car. I had ocean tail lights. I had so much stuff for it, man. I was like, I was going like,
You
crazy.
use that haterade to fuel like as some
Pretty, yeah,
motivation, dude.
pretty much. So I became like some sort of like underdog in a sense. Like I was just ghosting the vortex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened is like I went to school to be a mechanic, and that like kind of cost money, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
ugh, it was not so feasible anymore. So that kind of went on the back burner for quite some times.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I needed a daily, and I bought an R32, 2008, and
Not
those
Mark
cars
Five.
are, yeah, those cars
Yeah.
are not, they never made it to Canada, right? So I exported mine from Detroit, came on a train.
Sick.
um yeah, so I was really pumped on that car, dude. That car was dope, like super dope. um
How does like the import export stuff work in Canada? Like when it's not,
so
because isn't it? I think the U.S. is 25 years, right? Canada's
yeah,
like, I
it
remember
doesn't really,
Aaron
I
said,
don't know, I don't know how it worked because the dealership did it for me, so I'm not
sick.
100% because
Oh,
the car
maybe.
at the time was fairly new, right? It was like a
Mm-hmm.
year old. So anyways, I got that car in the meantime. So then I was like, okay, I need to sell some parts. So I start parting out the Mark IV, as sad as it is, and I end up selling my build engine to a guy in Jersey. I sold the head to someone else, the turbo. It was like all over the place,
Man.
and it just sat aired out in my storage for years, man. And then I got a notice one day of eviction that I needed to move
Oh
out of that
shit.
storage unit. Yeah. So I was like, oh, kind of panicking. So I found another storage, brought the caddy, because the caddy was still running. So I brought the caddy and the golf,
Mm-hmm.
so they're together. And then yeah, and then my friend Mark was like, yo, would you sell me your shell? Like I got a TDI swap for it. I was like, sure. So we swapped a TDI in that car with like in a weekend or whatever.
Nice.
Got it going again, and he drove it for a while. Then I ended up buying it back from him, and then I was like, so there's no air on it because it was back to coil. So I was like, I need air back. So I messaged Swoops because I was pretty good friend with him from back in the days, and I'm like, yo, I need a something that I can hide in my spare tire. And he's like, no problem, man, I got you. And so he built me that crazy cool setup,
Dude,
and
that
I put it in.
sick one with the dual compressors,
Yeah,
the
man, and
hard
the
lines
hard
by
lines.
swoops.
Yeah, man, that thing was so crazy. I was like so excited. So, and funny story, that got installed in Portland.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Dude.
man, my really good friend Ryan Miller, which is was he used to live in New York and he moved to Portland. It was his Mark IV is like the best, dude. It's
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous, man. So he helped me. We did frame notch, and then he sold me his bag that he had designed for him by Bagyard. So we installed those on and
Sick.
kind of pieced the air right together. And then I had Corvette wheels, 58 Corvette wheels on it. And we slammed it, and it was dope, man. I was so pumped. I was stoked again, right? But it was TDI, which is not really my thing, but whatever, it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then I built a crazy air setup in the back of that car. It looked like a brewery, man. It was like a Pablo Ribbons thing with like a falls like floor, and like it was crazy. The day before I was leaving for the show, the timing belt snapped.
Oh,
So yeah, so the motor was destroyed. So I again part out the
dang.
car, and this time it just ended up at the junkyard because I had no room to keep it.
Dude, that Mark IV had a hard life.
Oh man, did it ever?
Stolen,
So oh dude,
dailied, parted, parked,
yeah,
sold.
yeah. Oh,
Jeez.
it was yeah, yeah, it was pretty rough. So then
It
I
ended
was.
up it ended up in the junkyard.
That's right. Yeah, ended up his
Man.
life.
Rip Mark IV.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I'm left with my caddy and R32.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I like the R was pretty stock, so we did like manual flow exhaust and like intake and a bunch of stuff, and then it was a bit lowered, because the dealership put suspension. They asked me because they had suspension in stock. They were like, hey, do you want a cup kit H&R? I'm like, okay.
Nice.
So they installed it, and when I got the car, it was actually lowered, which was kind of cool. I
Yeah,
wanted
dude.
something kind of comfy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, like I said, an AMG wheel Aero 2 for that car, and they're like teal green. And it was at the time I was riding fixie pretty heavy, so my bike matched the wheels on the roof rack, you know, that kind of.
Sick.
So yeah, so it was that car is pretty dope. I ended up hitting a deer with that car,
Oh.
and dude, I messed up that car for like 15 grand, man. And it was supposed to be written off, but because it was a rare car, the my insurance company was like, no, we can't do that. So they put it back together, but it was a nightmare. It took 9 months,
9 months?
9 months to get the car back,
Dang.
and that car had a hard life too. I got the car back from paint, and a bobcat backed up into it, dinged the bumper, and 2 weeks after that, I had like a hub failure and I lost a wheel.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, and oh, it was just so I had to get rid of it because that car was cursed. We used to call it the white curse. It was so bad, but that car sounded amazing, man. I used to have my window down in the winter, just like oh, it was so good. Um, so anyways, I ended up getting rid of it, and then I needed again another daily.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a Mark 1 coupe, uh, red coupe, and that thing had a crazy build 8 valve in it, and it was pretty decent fast. It was like slammed on ATS Classics.
Nice.
Yeah, that thing was pretty cool. I drove it quite a bit, and I was going to college at the time to become a mechanic. So that was my new-ish daily, I guess. So shortly after that, I decided to yeah, I put the caddy on the road. I decided to like drive the caddy and fix like some of the issue, and I drove it for a while. And then I understand why I was not happy with it. Some of the stuff are not proper, and then the gauge or something, like something was funky. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, ah, again, goes to storage. My life goes upside down. Stuff happens.
Oh,
It sat in
dude.
storage for oh, a solid 4 years, maybe more.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. So what happened is when it get really cold, really hot, really cold, really hot,
Yeah.
it really affects a vehicle, right? It's worse than having it outside.
Mm.
So some of the stuff that was not done properly in like body work in the truck,
Mm.
everything started to rot.
Oh,
But
dang.
I didn't notice it, and like this is bringing the story of the sport truck. So the story of the sport truck. So
Let's get to
the
that.
reason is yeah. So my buddy at the time was like, I had no room to work, so I needed a garage, and my buddy was like, okay, bring it up to my shop, and we'll work on it.
Mm-hmm.
When he walked in my storage and he looked in the engine bay, he's like, dude, there's something not right here. He's like, you should bring this to bare metal. I have a funky feeling, man. I don't like it. I'm like, okay, dude. We took it apart, and the truck was rusted. Like the horn were so soft. Like there's holes that
Oh,
you can see inside the truck, man. Like I was
dude.
poking it with my finger, yeah. And they put a piece of like some sort of piece of metal, glued it inside. Like
What?
what the?
So the
Yeah,
body
man.
shop that did the work originally knew, and they
Knew all
hid
about it.
all the shit,
Yes,
and it just got
that's what.
worse from it sitting in
That's
storage for
right.
so long.
Yeah, and the
Dude.
entire wing was rotted, and it was bad. It was not even like worth saving.
Oh
So
man.
that picture on my Instagram was one of the last time that truck was together.
Wow.
So then yeah, we end up cutting the truck, saving some other truck, and the hood is in my garage right now. And so I'm like, man, I need another the caddy. Like this is crazy. Like I just lost my favorite thing. Like I was
Yeah.
kind of bummed out. Like it had so many stories with it. Me and my dad trailed it all the way to the East Coast for a show. Like it was dope, man. I was so sad. So
That looked
I was
like a
like,
rad
okay,
rad little truck, dude.
yeah,
And
that
it's
thing was pretty dope.
so crazy the color
Yeah,
coincidence.
I know. And so after that, I needed a new truck.
Hmm.
I needed something, man. I needed a caddy, and my buddy was like, "Why are you just looking in Canada? Like, look somewhere else. Like, you know, keep searching." And I had this idea in my head: if I ever buy another one, it has to be special.
Hmm.
I don't want like a beige truck, or I don't want like a white one. I want something that has a story, character, something cool.
Yeah.
So I was
Awesome.
following this guy. I was following this guy from North Carolina for quite some time, and he was doing like his Mark 1 right. They're always so good,
Hmm.
perfect stance, and he had a sport truck. And I was like, man, this thing is so sick. It was slam on 1552. I was like, okay, this thing is so sick. I'm like, and then I was like, in my head, should I message him? Should I message him? People probably message him every day to buy it, but I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, F it. I'm gonna message him. Slide in his DM. I'm like, listen, man, would you sell your truck? And he didn't answer me for like 2 days. I was like, oh my god, there you go, there's my answer.
I
He's
got
like, oh
ghosted.
hey, yeah. He's like, oh hey, dude, I never thought of it, but he's like, for the right offer, maybe I would. I was like, what? So I shoot him an offer, and he's like, okay, that sounds really good. Then I explained to him the scenario. I'm like, but I'm Canadian. I'm Canadian, man. I'm from
There's a
like
catch.
yeah, I'm like 4,000 miles away from you, and I'm like, oh, how, like, I ask him, I'm like, can we do this, like, is it okay, can I send you a deposit or whatever? Dude,
Mm-hmm.
that guy was amazing. He worked at a dealership, and he took picture on the hoist, he took picture of the engine bay
Oh,
underneath the carpet,
nice.
he took picture of everything, and that truck had a lot of good parts. All the bushing with tectonic, had a tectonic, like a header, he had
Mm-hmm.
an ABA swap, everything. It
Nice.
was like, it was decent, man. It had like Corrado seats. It had like a Momo steering wheel. Like, it was pretty
Dude.
cool.
Yeah, a sick little
So I
sport
was
truck.
like, yeah, man. So I was like, okay, this is cool. So I messaged him. Everything was cool. I I put winter tire in a hockey bag, and I flew with my an hockey bag with the winter tires because I didn't trust it because I need to drive up north, which is like pretty much winter still. So and then I'm in the airport like Raleigh, North Carolina, and people are like, have fun at your hockey game, and I'm like, what are they talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, I guess, thanks. Like,
That's hilarious, dude.
so then I go to the hotel room, and then I just kind of chill there for the night, and then I go and meet him at the dealership, and I see a sport truck, and I'm like, oh my god, that thing is so sick, and it's patina, and it's dope, and I'm like, oh, it's everything I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. We chat for a bit. We go for lunch, and we
Mm-hmm.
chat a bit more. And then, okay, I'm like, all right, time to go. So he mounts the tire on. He had like rims, and the thing actually had Girling front brakes, so
Nice.
big brakes, right?
Yeah.
So you couldn't fit the 13. So he found some 14s for me. We put the tires on, so I was good to go. So, and he also sold me the 1552. They're in really rough shape, but they're
Mm-hmm.
still okay. And I
Mm-hmm.
was planning on refinish them.
What were they
So,
the
what?
were they the snowflakes? What which
No, they're the
15?
classics.
Okay.
I think their name.
No.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I think 1552 classics or something.
Okay.
I can't
They're
remember.
kind of like
Yeah,
the
they're
mesh ones.
yes,
All right,
yes,
cool.
that meshy with like
Yeah.
the thick kind of like,
Those are
yeah.
sick. I like those a lot.
Yeah, so it was really cool. So anyways, all right, let's start the endeavor. So I've never done this before. Like, everyone done it, Jimmy Orr, all those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm nobody. I'm just a dude, like, right? And in my head, I was like, man, if I kind of like chat about it on Instagram, I wonder if people would be interested. I
Mm-hmm.
start, and then people are like, yo, dude, this is crazy. And then people are following the story, and then they're asking for more, and I'm like, yo, this is cool. Like, okay. So I start making videos and little shorts and stuff, and I
Mm-hmm.
really like coffee. So I was stopping at donut shop and coffee shop on the
Nice.
way. Um,
So you were
so
driving it
like,
back. You're
yeah,
driving it
man,
back.
I'm
How many
driving
miles
at
was
night.
that?
So it's 30. I think I wrote it here somewhere.
That's quite a trek, dude.
Yeah, it's like 2,642 miles.
Wow.
Yeah. So like going so going through like um like Virginia, West Virginia, all that stuff. It was beautiful, dude. It was like in Fahrenheit would be like 59, something like that. So it
Mm-hmm.
was pretty good, and I
Mm-hmm.
was rolling. And I was stoked, man. That thing, like, all the ass. It was like mint. He did the oil change, and it was really good.
Dude.
Until I start going in like Chicago, dude. Chicago, it's when I start. The fan was working, not working, working, not
Oh
working, and it
no.
was like in Fahrenheit, it was like reaching records, man. That time in Chicago, it was like -37, man.
Oh jeez.
That's freaking cold, dude. I'm
Yeah,
in a
dude.
1981 Rabbit truck that the air blower barely works, and I'm freaking. I was like, oh, what am I doing, man? So,
That's
anyways, I'm like,
crazy.
whatever. I'm doing this. So I stop at a coffee shop that I saw off the highway, drink coffee, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. So I drive more and more, and I was driving nonstop, dude. I was sleeping maybe like 3 or 4 hours,
Dang.
and I was just
Were
giving
you
her.
just like pulling off to the side and
Off,
sleeping at
off.
a rest stop or a
I
parking
was,
lot
yeah,
or
yeah,
Sick.
rest stop, and then when I was really exhausted, I would stop at hotel, right?
Yeah.
So when I got to a place in Wisconsin, and it's called Oh man, Chris Cluel is gonna be mad at me, but it's like Oseo or whatever it's called. It's Osseo. It's a
Uh-huh.
weird like little town, dude. So small they don't have taxi drivers. They have nothing. The alternator decides to go, man. It's my
Oh.
it's minus 32, dude. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh my god, why? I'm away from home. I know no one here. I'm
You're
like,
in a small little town.
down, and then I'm freaking out, and I'm like, I'm the kind of guy that panics, man. I'm like, oh my god, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do. I'm like freaking. So this kid that worked at the gas station is like, oh, you can borrow my car and boost your truck or whatever. I'm like, okay. So the truck started, but it died right away,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
I'm like,
His
okay,
alternator's
it's
not.
the alternator. I'm like, oh, what I'm gonna do. So I'm tired, man. I'm so done with everything. I leave a note in the windshield. I'm like, do not tow. I will fix in the morning. And then when I look up, there's a Super 8. And I'm like, oh, dope. So I walk with my hockey bag with my 1552. Four wheels with tires is pretty freaking heavy, man. So I'm dragging that freaking bag and I'm going to
I
the old
can't believe
hotel.
they fit in the bag. How big was that
Yeah, dude.
bag?
It was pretty bad. It was like a goalie bag, right? So,
Jesus, man.
so I'm dragging those wheels with me and my luggage or whatever clothes, and I'm going to Super 8. I go there. Funny thing, there's a hockey tournament, so everything is booked, and I'm like, dude, you need to give me a
Oh.
room, man. I don't care if I sleep on the couch in front of you. I need a place to stay right now.
I'll just chill in the
He's like,
lobby.
yeah, man, like I don't care. And he's like, he's typing and typing. He's like an old dude, and he's like one finger typing. I'm like, oh my god, let's go, man. So he's like, okay, we got a room here, and it's for dogs. And I'm like, let's go. I don't care. Does it smell bad? He's like, I don't think so. Let's go have a look. So that's old man, like, he's like walking like like so slow. Opens the door. Like 700 keys, man. By the time he finds the right one, then he finally opens the door. I look in it. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I don't care. So then I messaged my buddy Rob, and I'm like, dude, man, what other car used this alternator, and you have a part number for me? And he was helping me out, man. Like,
Mhm.
and I was like pretty pumped. Okay, I'm like, okay, I think I have a solid plan for the morning. And what I didn't know, this town didn't have like a car part store. I'm like, oh my god. Then the panic. Oh, I'm like, okay, don't panic, not yet. So I go in the lobby and I look at all those phone numbers, and there's a
Mhm.
guy that has a bus services. So a freaking like 40 passenger bus comes and pick me up. Just me. I'm sitting in that bus, and he's like, "Where are you going, sir?" And I'm like, "Well, I need to find a parts store somewhere." He's like, "Oh, I know one in town." So we go down there. It's like old school, dude. He had
Uh-huh.
old stuff in there, and I'm like, "Oh no, man, I'm not gonna find what I'm looking for." So I asked the guy, and he's like, "Oh, we know this guy at the junkyard. He probably has what you're looking for." I'm like,
Rad.
okay, that sounds pretty cool. All right, so he drives me with that bus to like a
You're getting
neighborhood, and
chauffeured around in a
yeah,
40
man,
person
in a
bus
freak,
looking for an
yeah, man,
alternator
alternate.
in some
So
random town
yeah,
in a
man. So
country you don't even live in.
live in. So we get to that place, and the guy opens the door, and it's like two dudes, and all you can see is their ass hanging, dude, doing a motor swap in a car, and I'm just like, oh my god. I say, hey, yeah, I'm looking for an alternator, and this is a part number. He's like, oh, part number? What is that? It's no good to me. And I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, well, do you have something? Like, I've heard you run the junkyard here. He's like, yeah, but it's closed. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
dude.
And he's like, I got a Beetle in the back. And I'm like, what year is it? It's like, oh, it's 2000. I'm like, oh, it's not going to work. I was like, damn. But he's like, oh, thinking about it, my parts runner is coming back in like 20 minutes. If you want to wait, maybe he can help you out. I'm like, okay, I'll wait. So that dude shows up, walks in, and he looks like a drug addict, man.
Oh
I'm like,
shit.
oh my god, it's like an old dude, and I'm like, okay, okay, whatever. I have no choice. Like I need to get something moving here. So
Uh-huh.
I hop with this guy, and he's telling me his life story. That he was like into drugs and blah blah blah, and he got clean and he got a family and all that stuff, and oh my god, and he has a flip phone, dude, like, and he's like trying to like T9 message his son and stuff while driving. I'm like, oh my god, man, can you please like stay on the road? And he's like, yeah, yeah. And so we go to O'Reilly, like I think it was like half an hour out of that town.
Mhm.
So I get to O'Reilly and I ask the guy, I have the part number and everything. He types it in. He's like, uh, the one I have is for AC car only. I'm like, what do you mean, man? Like, it doesn't matter. Give it to me. Like, I don't care AC, non AC. It's gonna work. Like, give it to me. He's like, no, the part number you gave me says that it's for, you know. was like, come on, dude.
Dude, the
Let's see
typical
my
parts guy at the
yes.
car parts store, the national chain, just like,
Oh my
dude,
god.
just
So I
I want to
turn
give you money to buy this.
yeah. So I flip around and I flip back. I'm like, hey, guess what? My car's AC now. And he's like, ho 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 ho. So I get so I get the alternator and he's like, oh yeah, if you bring it back, man, we'll give you $40. I'm like, okay, sounds good. So I help with this dude, rent tools, go fix the caddy, got it running. I'm like, oh hell yeah.
Nice.
Back on the road. And then
Did you
I
go get your
drop
40 bucks?
I did. I did. I got my
That's
40 bucks,
gas
bring
money,
back the
dude.
tool. The hell yeah. So then I'm driving and I'm driving for quite some time. And I'm passing all the states and I'm stopping at White Castle and at some random place that we don't have here,
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts, like that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm getting amp again, right? So I'm making more videos. Then it gets really freaking cold, man. Really cold.
Colder than
And the
negative
blower
30?
oh yeah, yeah. It was crazy. And guess what? The blower motor stopped working.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh my god. So I'm stopping at every single gas station. I'm buying those like heat warmer packs that you rub together, and I'm putting that in my shoes, and like I'm just trying to stay warm, man. I'm like, holy, this is so bad.
Oh
So
man.
then I finally see a sign that says "Welcome to Montana," and I'm like, oh yes, yes, so
Almost
close,
there.
dude. It gets white out. It's like you're holding a
Oh
piece of paper in front of the
no,
windshield.
dude.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm driving a Slam 81 vehicle that weighs maybe 1,500 pounds. And I'm legit like, so like, I'm holding a steering wheel and I'm like
Dude.
driving like an old lady, like trying to see what's going on. And I'm running really low on gas too. So I finally go in this town, and on the map it says that if I turn there, there's a bunch of gas stations kind of together.
Mm-hmm.
So it was true. I turn out, oh, perfect. So I gas and I warm up, and I'm like, holy cow, man, so cold, dude. And I bought gloves. I bought like more socks, and I'm just like, oh my god, let's
Dude,
go.
this is gnarly.
And so I'm like legit like 4 hours from the border, which is called Sweetgrass, Montana, and
Uh-huh.
that's the border of Alberta and Montana. And I'm 4 hours, and I'm excited. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna make this. And so I'm driving, and it got worse. The snow was sideways. It was so windy that I was like going like this
Oh,
for like
dude. Crab
miles
walking.
and miles. Dude, it's so bad. Then what happened? A big semi truck passes me on that
Mhm.
road, and he has a dual trailer, and all that wind tunnel
Oh,
took
dude.
the back end of the truck, start to like dance like that, and I went right in the ditch.
Oh no.
Yeah, dude, I ditched the truck, and I went really deep in the snow that I couldn't open the
Shit.
doors.
Oh,
So so I'm stuck in this
holy
truck,
shit.
no heat, no nothing. And then people are like, when I tell this story, people are like, why you didn't bust a window? I'm like, dude, if I bust a window and I'm in the middle of nowhere and it's windy, I don't want to, I don't want to froze to death.
Fuck,
So
dude.
I'm stuck in this truck, dude, for three and a
Did
half
anyone
hours.
see you go off? 3.5
No,
hours?
yes, man. I was
Holy
legit like,
shit.
and the stuff that was going on in my head, I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Like, and my girlfriend prior to that, she said, you should stop and stay in the
Dude.
hotel tonight. I'm like, no, I'm so close. It's gonna be fine. But no, it wasn't fine, man. And like, when I
Man.
don't listen to her, bad stuff happens. So now I always listen to her.
Was this
So
like, what time of day was this when you ditched the caddy? Was it like
when I ditched the
nighttime?
caddy, it
Is
was
it?
at night. It was at night, man. It was
Oh.
probably, it was, no, actually, it was early morning. It was
Okay.
like 3 in the morning.
Oh,
3 in
well,
the
still,
morning,
it's
yeah.
dark as shit outside.
It was pitch dark. There's no lights. It was like
Fuck.
a pretty skinny road, middle of nowhere, Montana. I don't even remember the town because like when I think about it, I'm just like, holy cow. So I'm minus 30 something in this truck, in this cab, tiny little cab. And in my head, I'm like, okay, this is it. Really, this is my
Fuck,
story. I'm
dude.
gonna die at
Oh
30 some
no.
years old. Like I was freaking out, man. Like this is not like something I ever like near death experience. Never like that was crazy. The only experience I had like that's when I fell in a tree well when I was
Oh
snowboarding.
yeah, dude, that's
But other
sketchy
than
too.
other than that, I'm like, dude, this is not good, right? So I'm like holding my cell phone with my light, and I'm slowly passing out, and I'm slowly passing out, and I'm like, my body is like giving up, man. And
Oh
I'm so cold. I never
fuck,
felt so cold before. And
dude.
then I heard some scratching, and it's the snowplow. He saw me. He called the cops. And at this
Oh
time, I'm
shit.
passed out, dude, out cold. And then I hear some weird stuff, but I don't know if I'm dreaming. I don't know what's going on, man.
Oh
And at this point, I'm kind of
shit.
talking to myself. I'm losing it. And I hear more scratching. And then I like,
They're
what the
digging you
hell? And
out.
the door open, and it's the sheriff. And it's like, buddy, are you okay in there? I'm like, yeah. It's like, I'm pretty hungover, but this is an emergency, so I showed up. Like, yeah. So he tugs me out of the truck, man. I'm like so out of it, dude. I can't like move my body. So he legit like tugged me out of the truck. And when I
Dude.
was out, there's nothing. I was in a field. Good thing I didn't blow up the window because the nearest town was 47 minutes away, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, you
So he
stuffed your
takes,
caddy into the ditch in
yep,
below freezing weather, are stuck
yes,
for 3.5 hours, and get rescued by a drunk sheriff
yes.
45 minutes away from
The
anything
nearest
else.
town in nowhere, Montana. So it takes me in his sheriff. It takes me in his sheriff's SUV, and we go to like the I don't know, like the station, let's say, and
Hmm.
there's like a dispatcher in there, and the lady's like, "Oh my God, what happened to you? Like, would you like a cup of coffee?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I would love one." So I'm
And a
like drinking
blanket.
this. Oh, dude, I'm drinking this horrible coffee. It's like drinking like oil, man. And I don't care. It's delicious. I'm just so stoked. And then I have like a roll of paperwork. Cause I mean, like the truck is getting ready to get imported and all that. I tell him the whole story, and he's like scratching his head.
Oh
You are
shit.
crazy, sir. And I'm like, I guess.
You're pretty
So
crazy, dude.
yeah, so I'm just like, oh my God. So now when I like, start feeling okay, I message my girlfriend, message my dad, my mom. I'm like,
Dude,
okay,
that is
this crazy
crazy.
thing happened to me. You guys, like, it's okay. Don't panic. I'm gonna come up with a plan. It's okay. I'll be
You like
okay.
legit almost died in
Yes,
that truck,
yes,
dude. If
in
you
that
were
truck.
there like another 3 hours, that might have been
Oh,
really
that was
bad,
it.
dude.
Oh yeah, man. So
Fuck.
then the sheriff is like, okay, we have to get that vehicle out of there because we can't leave it. By law, it has to get out of there.
Mm.
So, on the sport truck, there's a special lip that's like a big duck bill and it's one piece. And that
Mm-hmm.
was a special thing that came on the sport truck. Well,
Yeah.
that duck bill does not exist anymore. It's gone somewhere.
Shit.
And I was like so sad, but whatever.
It's still in that
So,
ditch in Montana.
yeah. So I'm like, oh, so he calls everywhere and there's no tow truck because it's a big snowstorm. A lot of people are in the ditch. And he's like, okay, I got you a record, but it's 45 miles away. So that dude drove 45 miles to get the caddy, and I drove with him 45 miles back to his shop because that's by law he has to bring me to safe environment or whatever. So
Wow.
now I'm backtracking, man,
Oh shit.
and it's in US dollar, and I'm like, oh my God, and the bill is ridiculous, and I'm just freaking out. I'm like, my truck does not run. I'm not
Oh.
in my country. I'm
Oh.
working in 2.5 days. I'm like panicking. He's like, okay, sir. He's like, I'm gonna drive you to an hotel that's kind of like in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I'm like, okay, what I'm gonna do? What I'm gonna do? I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then I'm thinking about all kinds of scenario, and I'm asking my roommate, dude, would you come pick me up or whatever? And it's like, well, last resort, like I will. But if you find another something else, like go
So you're
for it.
4 hours from the border,
But
roughly.
at this point, I'm a little more.
So you
Because remember
you
at backtrack,
backtracked. So you're like 5 hours
five,
from the
give or
border.
take.
How
Yeah,
much
that's
further
right.
from the border to like your house?
So to my house, it would have been like a 14-hour hike.
Dang.
Yeah, so I'm pretty far.
Wow.
So, and I'm thinking like, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna do. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I got a buddy in the VW scene that lives like 2 hours from the border. So I'm
Mm.
like messaging him. I'm like, dude, Justin, I got this crazy favor to ask you, man. I'm in a major pickle right now. Like, and he's like, what? I'm like, dude, I crashed the caddy. We saved it. It's okay, but it doesn't run, and I don't know what's wrong. I don't have any tools. I don't know what to do here. He's like, holy, I'll get back to you. He gets back to me within 15 minutes. He's like, dude, I'm hooked up to the U-Haul. I'm on my way to get you, man.
Sick. That's a
Send me a pin.
homie.
Oh, dude, he's
That's
the
a
best, man.
homie.
The best. So I sent him a pin exactly where I was, and he showed up with the trailer, and we load up the caddy on it, and then I hop with him, and I'm not well, dude. I feel like so weird, like
Oh
you know,
shit.
like adrenaline high and low, and you know,
Almost
I'm kind of
dying.
out of. Yeah, I'm
Fuck.
like kind of out of it. Like I'm not feeling good. So then I get to his dad's shop, and we drop off my caddy at his dad's shop because he's nice enough to, you know, he leaves there because I have to figure out how to fix it, who's gonna fix it, am I gonna fix it? Because I need to get to work,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I hopped on the bus and I bus back and I go to work, and then I have an entire week to think about my scenario.
Shit.
So I look at AMA, which is CAA for you guys, and I had like the long haul tow. So they're able to tow my vehicle from that location to 2.5 hours. So my buddy's shop is 2 hours from there. So like a shop called Tony's Auto Service in Calgary, the homies, man. Like,
Nice.
they have also like a side project called Dub Dynasty. They're the homies that saved the sport truck, and they're so amped on it. They're like, oh my
Sick.
god, like you know, they've never seen one before, and they're like super pumped on it. So they got it running. They called me like, yo, come pick up your truck, it's running, and
Fuck
we
yeah.
did a bunch of stuff, tight some stuff, and I'm like, holy cow, this is so cool.
Did they say what was
So I
wrong with it? Did they say why it wasn't running?
timing the timing was off, the cap rotor was wet, and the
Mm.
spark plug were like, you know, from me trying to start it, I shoot too much gas and it
Mm-hmm.
just ruined the
Flooded
spark
it.
plug. So they changed all that, and boom, man, the thing was running mint again.
Sick.
So I drove it back, where I was living, and so yeah, and then after that happened, I got the truck back and everything. So I'm going to Alpine Vag Fair in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then in the whole scenario of the caddy, I end up meeting the Black Forest industry, some of them,
Mm-hmm.
became really good friend with them, and they invited me. They're like, yo, we have a place for you. Like, you're more than welcome to come.
Sick.
So those homies like brought me to Alpine Vac Fair, and then crazy story, dude. I met every single owner of the caddy.
What?
And another crazier
At Vag
story
Fair?
that yes, and another crazier story that caddy was featured on Black Forest Industry website for their valve cover, and it was a diesel swap in that sport truck. And I met the owner, and it was called the Clapped Out Project. And that was on the
Ah.
BFI page way back, dude. It was on BBS RS wheels. It was just a stock clip and everything, dude. I was like mind blowing. Here
Shit.
it gets crazier.
Did you wait? Hold on.
Pri- uh,
Did you take the truck from Canada to Vag?
no, I
Okay.
flew.
Okay.
Yeah, I took the
All right.
plane because it's
All right.
too crazy of a drive,
I
and I
was
was
gonna
done
say,
with that
dude.
stuff for a while.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. So so those dudes are like so nice. They're still like super like good homies of
Dude,
mine to
that's
this
awesome,
day, and
man.
like so anyways, crazy your story. We're coming back from Alpine Vac Fair, and they always like to stop and make me try some stuff from different states and different sodas and different chips or whatever,
Uh huh.
because you know I really like snacks. So anyways, we stopped there and we're kind of chit chatting about stuff, and one of the guys like he's like, hey, add me on Instagram, and I'm like, yo, this is really familiar, and it's Cage Bunny. I'm like, dude, did I buy something from you like way back? Dude, I bought the valve cover that was on the caddy. I didn't even know way like years before I bought it. And
Oh
that was supposed
shit.
to go on my one of my coupe. I had a green Mark 1 coupe for a tiny little bit of time,
Uh
and I was
huh.
planning on putting that valve cover on there. And
Oh shit.
crazy story, dude. That was that valve cover that was in that feature. So I was like, wow, this is crazy, dude. So yeah,
Dude,
so yeah, man.
that is
So
nuts.
yeah. So what happened with the whole like how why it got so crazy the sport truck build was
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of leftover from the gold truck. Like parts that was not installed, had a lot of big turbo stuff, I had like a build motor, you know, I have lots of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
at the time I was planning on building like a track rabbit because I have an 83 in the garage as well. But like I was like, I don't know. A lot of my friends were like, dude, you should maybe like pimp up the sport truck. And then also like there's that guy Ben Kuick, Ben Vedup shop from
Mm-hmm.
Washington. He had like a spread in the PVW with his two rusty caddies, and I was like, he had a mountain green one and he had a brown one, and then he like snowflake, flake the bay and
Mm-hmm.
stuff on the next feature. That caddy was like, dude, this is so crazy, man. So I was like, if that guy can do cool stuff, maybe I should like push the envelope a little bit and do
Yeah.
something cool too. And then that German auto truck, I saw it at Alpine Vag Fair, blew my mind, man. I was so happy. That was the only vehicle I really wanted to see was there. It's owned by a guy named Ryan, Dumpy Bunny on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
He owns it now. He did a lot of cool work on it. It has a Callaway, like his twist on a Callaway turbo kit, and it's pretty sweet. And he kept it pretty like when he had it back in the days, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty rad. And then also crazy story. When I was looking for a rabbit, a guy from Washington, my favorite rabbit of all time was the guy that it's local to you now. He has it, the white with the IRS
Yes,
suspension.
yes, it's
Okay,
Tyler has it now. I
yeah,
forgot
yeah. So
whose it was before, but
Nick was
Nick.
the guy that built it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So Nick, he had a sticker. I don't know if you remember that sticker. It's a really famous picture that what's his name? Gilbert, the photo dude. I can't remember his first name. Anyways, he took the picture and it says, "Keep your cash. I love my clunker." And that like stuck with me. I was like, that guy dude, this is sick. Like, and it like kind of stuck with me. And I was like,
That's crazy,
the
dude.
whole
That
time
rabbit, like literally, I could throw a rock and hit it from where
that's
I'm talking right now.
that's crazy,
Yeah,
dude.
my
That
buddy Tyler
habits.
ended up with it, and he's literally my neighbor. I could see his house from my house. I could hit
Wow.
his house with a rock.
That's dope. So that's like those are the my favorite like Mark 1, let's say, in that kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, okay, this caddy is gonna be crazy, I guess. And at the time I was okay. I had a bunch of parts, but in my head I was not planning on going that crazy. But talking to like people and like people were like yeah man, I can do that for you. Like let's do it. Let's go. So Greg Swoops in New York, man, the conversation with him the past like while like man I can you do you know if this is possible? And I would send him drawings and stuff and like would chat on the phone and I tried to explain to him my ideas and stuff and he made it happen, dude. So the goal with the caddy was to when you open the hood it
Mm-hmm.
looks NA. So you
Mm.
know everything is hidden. The turbo is at the bottom. The
Mm-hmm.
piping is on one side, and so I mean I'm building that thing. I'm just a dude in my garage. Like I don't have sponsors or anything, but some of my friends are like nice enough to like be like, hey man, I like what you're doing. Like I'll cut you a deal on stuff. So
Yeah.
my really good friend, another good friend, Dave of mine, he has a company called KDN Performance, and he builds his own race shifter. So
Nice.
he
I
gave me
saw
a
that.
good
That
deal.
was that the shifter that's in the truck.
Yeah,
Dude, that
yeah.
thing is
So
sick.
yeah, man. So it's really nice. It's really similar to a CAE
Mm-hmm.
shifter, but you use like a original cable from like a Mark 4. So it's pretty cool. So
Dude, that's
I got
dope.
that, and then there's another Dave. There's so many Daves, but there's another Dave, Fast Bunny on Instagram. He helped me a lot too with like the engine mounts. He did some custom stuff that is not out yet that I'm gonna be
Nice.
testing, which is pretty cool.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, and then I was chatting with him. I was explaining to him some of the issue I was having, and he's like, "Yo, send it to me, and I'll figure it out. We'll fix it." So because I mean, like I can fabricate and stuff, but there's some stuff that's like a little too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, like I switched my intercooler to two sides to the same side. So he's like he's doing that for me at the moment. So then
Nice.
but the biggest problem, the hurdle with this project is being Canadian. Is constantly waiting for parts, man, was the biggest like downer with this project. I was like making some headway, then I would wait months because I'm waiting for a stupid fitting and I can't move on to the next thing. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like constantly, and that truck was is a really big pain, man. Like my girlfriend is an angel because sometimes I come back from the garage and I'm just a monster because it's not going well. Like this part doesn't fit. I have to cut this,
Yeah.
because every single part on that thing is custom. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like stuff I can buy.
Yeah.
You
You're
know,
not just doing a
it's
bolt-on build.
that
That's for sure.
exactly. And because my thing was I want to do a 180 swap, but I didn't want to do a 1T swap like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like nothing against people that just buy SNP or buy like Eurowise or whatever and they just slap it and it runs in a weekend.
Yeah.
That's awesome and good for you, but that's not
Mm-hmm.
what I was going for.
Yeah.
I was going for like something a little more, like
Mm-hmm.
something crazy that's never been done. And
Dude, I
you know
mean,
that
I'm fucking looking at it stabbed in the bay, the most recent picture that you took. And
yeah,
that thing does look gnarly, dude. What's
yeah,
up with that
it's
manifold?
okay, so that
That thing is
manifold is a
sick.
casting. It's a casting, and it's actually a company from Portland, Oregon called Excessive. and I saw them on Unigan. They built a crazy Jaguar that was like had like a crazy suspension and they're drifting with it. And I was like, those dudes are sick. So I looked on the website. So
Nice.
they're building parts for Hondas as well. So that's a K20 manifold
No,
that I
dude.
merged to a 180 runners.
Well,
So my good buddy Gord put it on his mill and he milled it all flat and perfect. And then we put a plenum and welded a plenum on it. And then we put the actual like manifold. So that's why it's kind of like not
dude,
normal.
that thing
Yeah.
is gnarly.
And I was looking for something that's cast looking because I don't want to
Hmm.
paint anything because I want to show that it's been built, dude. People weld on that thing. People were working. It's not like it. We didn't buy the
I
parts
like
and
that,
powder
dude.
coat
It's
them,
just straight
right?
raw.
Just raw. My transmission is raw. Everything is raw for that
Dude,
reason
your
because
tranny build was nuts too.
yeah, that was a nightmare, dude. It
Fuck.
took me like 2.5 training to build one. And I'm hoping that everything went well because oh, it was bad. So and then like it's like a hurdle after another. So that truck also I'm running a Digifizz in there.
I was gonna ask you
Um,
because I saw the dash
yeah,
picture.
okay, so this is another crazy story. So I love revival motoring. Like I love those dudes, man. Josh and
Boom.
yeah, man, Josh and John. They've always been homies of mine, and what they do is awesome, dude. I support 100% what they do, and they got Joe Boot on their podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe has like a plastic kind of side hustle. He welds plastic.
Mm.
And I'm like, you know what? I have this crazy idea, so I'm gonna slide in his DM and see if he's interested. Dude, like legit is he wrote me in like capital letter, this is so crazy, dude. Yes, I'm so in, blah blah blah. So then we have some conversation, some like FaceTime, and where I'm explaining to him in real life what I want, what has to be done. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'm down. So I ship everything to him. And then he did everything, dude. He merged a Mark II cluster with a Mark 1 cluster.
Dude,
And then
sick.
I thought he was done. I'm like, dude, this looks so sick. I was super happy. He sends me a picture. He put a Mark 4 cup holder in it, man. And it's functional too, man. Like and I was so stoked. I said, dude, this is like next level. This is so sick. And
Dude, that is
so
sick. I'm
now the
watching the video
Digifizz,
now on your Instagram of
yeah.
the cup holder. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, dude. So like now the Digifizz fits properly, and
Dude.
because the Mark when you put in the Mark 1 and you just rock your normal bezel, it looks
Mm-hmm.
like hell, man. You have
Yeah.
like an inch gap, and
Mm-hmm.
it was bothering me. Another friend of mine, kind of local to me, has it. I don't like it. I can't do it. So I needed to like make
You
it
need more
proper.
fit and finish.
That's
I
right.
just love how
So
you have like those next level, like, man, they're not even like small things, but they're very attention to detail. But then like
yeah,
everything, like the raw manifold, and just like, dude, it's just like a good mix of like fit and finish, and then just like the rawness of the build. It's
yeah.
super super sick.
Because I mean, like, what I was really sad about, like, the truck, I was not planning on painting the bay. And the reason why I painted the bay is because I found, oh, okay, another story I forgot. When I trailered the truck to the garage that I'm in right now, it was raining, the truck slipped, and I crushed the front end.
Oh,
I crushed the rad support. So I had
oh,
to replace the rad support, and for that reason, I
you
had
had to
to
paint it.
repaint the engine bay. Yeah, dude, and that broke my heart because but if you look, it's not perfect. I left every single ding and scratches because I didn't want to take away from it. But it is
Nice.
a new paint. But I didn't want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then after a while, yeah, I was like bummed out for a little bit. But then I was like, you know what? It's all good. So then I always wanted a motor wiper, and I never wanted one. But I always like I had like a it was kind of cool. And then I did some research, couldn't find one. A friend of mine found one for me. It had the wrong wiper motor. I was like, oh, that's
Mm.
kind of a bummer. And then I found another one, and finally it was the right one. So then I installed it. I was super pumped on that. And I have to fill the hole and stuff, but
Nice. Are
and
you gonna do that? Are you gonna just plug it?
yeah,
Or are you gonna
oh
like,
yeah,
okay, you're gonna leave
yeah.
the secondary wiper thing there though, right? Or are you gonna
No, I'm gonna get rid of it.
reshave it?
Just
Sick.
yeah, shave it. And then I didn't want to like putting air ride in a caddy is super difficult because you have no room. So like some people put their manifold inside the cab and the compressor behind the seats and
Hmm.
that kind of
Tank
stuff. And
under
I'm
the
like,
bed.
yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm not done with that. So what I did, I built a cradle that has all my management and it fits where the spare tire used to be. And when I need to
Nice.
like do stuff with it, I just swing it down and I bolt it back up. So,
That's dope.
Yeah, so it's pretty rad. And I bought a massive compressor. It's like an Air Zenit OBD2, man. So it's gonna take
Jeez.
no time. And my tank is like 3 gallons,
What
so
size
it's quick
lines are you
fill,
running?
right?
You run
I
like
just quarter.
quarter?
Yeah, because I just wanted to like everything to bend properly and easier
Mm-hmm.
to work with. Um, so yeah. So now and then after that I wanted something like I wanted the wheel to fit properly. In a caddy the front end is awful, dude. Like it's the ET and everything is always so bad, and when
Mm-hmm.
you're air out it doesn't fit properly. So I narrowed the front end, got tubular control arm, I got them
Sick.
raised. And they're one of and good Pete at Fabulous built those for me way back.
Man,
And
those
I,
things
I
are
had
sick.
custom tie rod, and they're shortened and they're flipped and they have like a drop kit in them, like a anti bum steer kind of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like on there, and then I needed a brake, man. You can't like so I got those
Got
Willwood
them
brakes in the front.
Willwoodies.
That's right,
Yeah,
and
dude.
those are dope. And also, everyone always do like the Mark III rear disc brake conversion with the Mark IV caliper, but to
Mm-hmm.
me that was not enough. So I
Mm.
got Polo disc brakes in the back.
Nice.
So it's the same hub as a Mark IV, but it's 4x100 bolt pattern. But it's
Sick.
exactly the same. Slides the same kind of scenario, but it's all for 4x100. And they use Mark III rear caliper holder, and you can slap the Mark IV caliper on it. So that's
Nice.
basically what's in the back.
Dude.
And but again, I'm crazy, and I deleted my e-brake because it drives me crazy. I don't like it. So I have like a line lock that replaced that. Which whatever. Some people are like, "Oh, you're nuts, man. What are you doing?" I'm like, "How many times did you pull that emergency brake in your life? How many times? Tell me." Other than doing like skids in the snow.
When you
So
park
and
on a
then
hill.
yeah, man, when in doubt, air out. Like, that's gonna stop it.
Get well played.
So yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. I have to like do a
Dude,
lot of
this
wiring
thing is
stuff.
gnarly, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I
We were
I
like
thought
when we first started DMing back and forth,
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna check this dude out. And like I started seeing pictures of this build. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, bro, you have to come on my podcast and talk about this caddy. You're like,
Yeah.
dude, it's a
So
crazy story. I almost died. And I thought you were joking, but you
no.
literally almost died.
Yeah, dude. And so what happened also is like uh there's some stuff like for the caddy that I was not planning on putting in, but
Hmm.
then as the build was like evolving, I'm like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. And I wanted to delete my brake booster for the longest time. But then I was like, after a while, I was like, no, I would really want to rock what Swoop made for me. So
Hmm.
legit, I kept it because of that. So it looks okay. Like it doesn't look out of place and it's still
No,
pretty
dude, that
clean.
looks clean, dude.
So
And he's
yeah,
got that aluminum.
and yeah, the little
Uh,
reservoir, yeah.
yeah, dude.
So in this truck, everything runs inside the cab. So all the brake lines are inside the cab.
Sick.
The clutch cables inside the cab because it's hydro converted.
Hmm.
Because I didn't want to deal with cables, so I wanted nothing in the firewall. Even my O2 sensor wraps around the engine to the front.
Dang,
Because again, I didn't want nothing. So yeah, it takes a long time, and people always like on my
dude.
back. What the hell, man? Why are you not done? Because
Waiting for
it's
parts. I'm
not.
Canadian.
That's right. Yeah, and yeah, and then the wheels, dude. Oh, that was crazy. I haven't even posted the wheels on
Well, I
Instagram
got
yet.
some pictures of them, dude.
Yeah.
I got some.
Um.
I got some
So
pictures of them,
I ordered those wheels because I saw them on a SEMA build, and I was like, "Whoa, those
dude.
wheels are
They
crazy!"
fit the whole
Right?
overall look of the truck that you're going for
Ex-
like so well. Like
oh man.
you look at the bay and then the wheels, like it, dude. It like fits. It. Yeah, those are perfect.
Oh, it was
Perfect.
so good.
Yeah.
But the crazy part, I ordered them when COVID just happened.
Mm.
Then like the shop closed down, dude. I was freaking out. I was like, what's gonna happen? What happened if we run out of business, man? They
Do you
have my
take
money.
anti-anxiety medication, dude?
Oh man. I'm gonna have to after
Do you
this.
smoke
Like
a lot of weed to calm yourself
no,
down? How do you sleep at night?
I know. Oh, dude, my brain goes like crazy. So I'm freaking panicking. I have no answer from them for like months, man.
Wow.
And finally, dude, they answer me. They're like, "Hey, sorry, we have a skeleton crew. We're trying to like,
Hmm.
get stuff together." I'm like, "Well, do you have any updates on my wheels?" And they're like, "No, man. It just says that they're processed." And I'm like, "Oh."
Shit.
So then I'm like, "Oh my god, what I'm gonna do?" And I'm like, "What I'm gonna do if I don't have those wheels, and then I have no money?"
Did you just get them, or have you
No,
had
no.
them for a little bit?
No, I have them for a little bit. I have
Okay.
them since like early like November-ish or a
Nice.
little bit before that. But anyways, I was panicking, man. Every day I was like, "Oh my God, why? Why is this happening?" Right? So I get an email out of nowhere, and it's like a weird like sub company of them, and they're like, "Hey, just to like let you know, like your wheels have shipped yesterday. Here's
Oh,
a tracking
sick. That's
number."
good
I'm
news.
like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, dude, finally!" And when I saw the FedEx dude and the box, I was like, "Oh,
Yes.
this is
Dude, that's another
happening,
thing you're
man."
probably stressing about them getting damaged in transit, dude, or
Oh, that
fucking
too.
lost
Yeah,
or stuck in.
lost or
They have like
you know what I
customs
mean?
issues with stuff going
Yeah,
up there.
that's right. And
Damn,
I
dude.
get two wheels, and then you're waiting for the two. Like, you
Exactly.
know
Or
what I mean?
three.
Oh,
Like three shows
yeah,
up and then
three
like
shit. Yeah,
we lost the
something.
last one, dude. We don't know where
Yeah,
it's at.
sorry, dude. Yeah. Oh,
Fuck. Dude,
so crazy.
epic story, man. Like this I
Yeah,
love the build even more, like hearing like the
yeah.
entire
There.
story, dude. And you're just going like next level
Mm,
with this build, dude. It's so awesome to see fresh builds like this because you know people are always
yeah.
like, "Oh, we've done everything." I'm like, "No, dude. Everyone can take their own spin, and like people's brains just like
Oh
go
yeah.
crazy
I'm
like
like,
yours did."
yeah, I'm like kind of artsy too. Like I went to school to be like a like 3D modeler and like graphic design kind of stuff. So
Nice.
yeah, I a lot of stuff processed in there,
Dude,
all the time.
I have two clapped out Mark ones, and I'm like perfectly fine with just driving clapped out NA diesels.
Yeah, it's fine.
And
It's
but
fun.
when I see builds like yours, it like
Yeah,
makes me motivated to like want to do something. You know, like
yeah,
fuck, I want to
yeah.
do something crazy to one of these cars. I've
Right.
just picked up a Euro van, a T4
I saw
transporter.
that.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna.
That's
I just want
dope.
to slam that and maybe do like swap something cool into it or
That'd
something.
be different. Hell
Yeah,
yeah. That'd be
you don't.
dope,
I don't
dude.
see very many out here. Well, I see them driving around every once in a while, but I don't see any
Yeah.
slammed ones, or
Right.
anything like that. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but fuck yeah, dude, seeing the shit that you do like motivates the fuck out of me. Like I was blown away when I started going through your Instagram feed. I was like, holy fuck! I was like, hey, dude, come do my podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm kind of like the underdog kind of. Like I don't promote my stuff. Like my account is private. Like I don't care about the hype, man. I'm
hmm
building that for me, and
Fuck
like
yeah, dude.
I've been so disappointed in the past by people being so like
That's such a fucking
destructive.
bummer, dude. That
You
that
know what I
was
mean? So
yeah. That was the
yeah, it's since
toxicity vortex of back in those days. And dude, I got a lot
that's
of
right.
hate too. But for me, like, I don't give a fuck, dude. You know, like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
when when
That's
I
the problem with me. It's like being too nice, right? I was like,
yeah,
oh man, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but
I
I was
would I would
not. It was
troll
just
people. Like I would, when I bagged my Mark 4 R32, there wasn't many people who did it at the time, and I got a shit ton of hate. Same thing, dude.
mm,
People post my car and like all the R32 guys would be talking shit about it. So I would like find their, Vortex name, whatever, and I would like send them pictures, like inbox pictures of like drilling through the fucking subframe in the
for the lie.
rear, just like
Yeah,
notching the frame, like pictures of the process because I documented the whole thing, and I would
right.
just send them pictures like I'm drilling holes in a Mark 4 R32. I would give it right back to them. It
Yeah,
sucks though
yeah,
because I know so
yeah,
many
yeah. I
people
was,
that have that similar story where they're trying to build something, trying to be different, try to do something cool, and they just got a bunch of fucking useless
yeah,
hate for it by a bunch
so
of.
much hate.
It
Yeah,
sucks is people who like hate like that too aren't the people who are doing cool shit.
that's the thing,
That's
right?
the
That's why I
thing,
was like
yeah.
mentioning that. Like some people, like I looked at some of the people I was hating, then I looked at their car, and they had like masking tape in their on their headlights and like painted steelies. And I'm like, you are hating on my
Yeah, dude.
Euro converted car? Are you kidding me?
If
Like,
anyone
yeah,
throws
it's
that much hate out because they're just miserable about their own fucking
yeah, dude.
situation,
That
dude.
was
That's what I
that was
usually think.
unreal.
I'm like, well, fuck you guys. I don't give a shit. I'll do me, and you do you. And Mark,
Yeah,
you're fucking killing it, dude. Straight up.
I'm trying to.
Dude, you're gonna have to,
Yeah,
yeah, just keep me posted on this thing, man. Like,
hell yeah.
do you have any plans for like you're building it as you go and it gets done when it gets done, right?
Uh, Actually, I want to drive it this summer, dude. Like, I miss driving like Mark ones, like Slam
Man,
Mark ones. I haven't had a cool car in like years, man. Like, my life has been a roller coaster. So that thing is gonna bring back like what I like. Go
dude,
to Cars and Coffee, go grab coffee, go hang out, dude.
fuck yeah,
Long
man.
cruise at night. And a lot of people like on me because they're like, "Yo, man, that thing can have a lot of power. Are you gonna put meat on it?" Blah blah blah. I'm like,
Mm.
not really, man.
You don't have
I
to
build it.
drive it like that.
No,
You
I
don't.
build it more so like as a piece of art in a sense.
Yeah,
You
dude.
know, I just yeah.
You can still
So, but
drive it,
whatever.
like you can still
Oh hell
drive
yeah.
it chill,
But
you know. But it's
yeah,
nice to have fucking gobs of horsepower
that's
if you ever
that's right.
decide to need it.
Yeah.
Dude, the
Yeah.
thing's fucking insane, man. Like
Mm.
so much props. Like I'm super stoked on your build. And like you have like the craziest story of how you got the truck all the
Yeah.
way to the point of what you're doing with it. It's like
Yeah.
I got like fucking like chills
Yeah.
just
It's
thinking
like
about all that shit.
it's like that thing is like I'm giving back to it, you know? I'm bringing it back to life, you know, give it some. But like a lot of people like, are you crazy? Like building a rusty garbage? I'm like, dude, this is what Mother Nature does. This is dope, man. Like, and they don't understand that, right? They're like, oh my god, you should just paint that thing or getting painted, blah blah blah. I'm like, hell no.
No.
No, sir. Like, there's no way I'm gonna get that look ever again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool part about the truck on the hood, it says sport truck. It
Mm-hmm.
still says sport truck, but the sticker is gone. That's legit the original
Nice.
paint that was underneath. So it's even cooler.
It's ghosted
So
into the hood.
yeah, man.
Dude, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, I
Fuck,
love
dude.
that part of it.
I was just
Hmm.
so stoked on what you're doing, man. It's super awesome. So yeah, you got to keep me posted, dude,
I
for
will,
sure. Dude, what's up with
100%.
that Grumman you posted though? I've been like
Oh,
obsessed with those. Now they're popping up
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, so crazy thing is two of my friend had one at the same time.
Dang.
My yeah, a buddy of mine had one with a 190, a 1.6 turbo diesel swap and was on bags
Sick.
on the same wheels that you have on your brown car, the minis.
Nice. Yeah, the
He
mini
had that on,
steelers.
yeah.
Sick.
So that van was sick, and his was patina, was even cooler. But he gave up
Dang.
on him. He got super mad, parted it
Oh,
out. He put it on a trailer, sold it to like a couple like provinces down. I can't remember exactly where it went. I think in
dang.
like Toronto or somewhere. And then my other buddy, that one was the one you saw that
The
was
tan? It's like
the
tan
tan
on
one was
RAs.
yes, that one was swap ALH with Audi TT seats.
Sick.
Yeah, that thing was pretty neat. And he sold that because he was really tall and he just kind of got sick of driving that tiny little van.
Shit.
So yeah, and
I'm like,
I was kind of
I-
yeah, they're so
I'm on the
sick.
hunt, bro. Like seeing
Yeah.
Greg Zorns and Johnny
Oh, dude,
Cooks.
Zorns
I was just
is the
like,
coolest.
fuck, I want one of
Zorns is
these
the
now.
coolest. Yeah, that thing is incredible, man.
It's
That he
nuts,
took the
dude.
time to polish that whole like that is
Yeah,
mind
dude.
blowing,
And I like
man.
that
Yeah,
fucking that
I can't
rag top he
like
has on the top.
yeah, dude, that is
Fuck.
so cool. Like I didn't even know that dude was legit that cool, man. Before like I heard on your podcast and on People Car podcast, and I
Dude,
didn't
he's
even
cool as
know
fuck.
he is really cool, man. I was like, holy shit, like
Yeah, dude,
you
he's
know,
like such a great guy, man.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
another
that's
fucking
dope.
that's so rad. I'm so happy that I decided to try to do this podcast thing, man, because I get to like talk
Yeah.
to like I mean everyone that I've talked to so far has been like amazing,
So
dude.
yeah, man. Like one thing that blew my mind is that Brian Scotto at Fuck Yeah Volkswagen sticker, man. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like
Dude, that dude's dope too.
that dude is sick. Brian
Yeah,
Scotto is amazing, man.
yeah, he
Like
is.
his story,
He's
he
an
was
old
in the
Volkswagen
dubs.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man, and
he's
he's
got a
so
swallowtail
humble
now.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cool color, like that Ian Flip guy from Florida, that same green is so
Hmm.
neat, man.
I
Like, and
yeah, I saw him join our Facebook group and I just sent him a message like, "Dude, what's up? Post some pictures of that swallowtail. Give me an address. I'll send you some stickers." And I sent them to the Hoonigan shop
yeah,
and
headquarter or whatever. Yeah.
he got them.
That's oh man, that's unreal. I can't wait to get mine, man.
I'm
Slap
hoping.
one on.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! Send me your address. I'll send you a bunch of
Yeah,
them. I'm hoping to get some episodes out. Maybe build the channel a little bit, and then like slide
yeah.
into his DMs and be like, "Yo, dude, want to do the podcast?"
Yeah, I'm sure he would. That's a crazy part. But from what I've heard on the revival, he's like super busy.
Yeah,
You know, so
yeah,
yeah.
and that's
And
another thing. I
also
don't
like,
want to bug anybody, but dude, even if
yeah,
it's like a year from now, I don't
who
care, dude.
cares, right?
It'd be
Yeah,
rad.
but that's super dope. Also like who I can't remember his name. Gleesy or something. Do you know that kid
Yeah,
that's
dude.
building that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had the stickers too, all the way. He lives in Russia or something. I
No,
can't
he's
remember.
in
Or Poland? Is it in Poland? I don't know.
fuck, Austria.
Austria?
Shit, I
Yeah,
should know this.
maybe.
I actually
Yeah.
DM back and forth with him quite a bit. He's gonna come and do the podcast too. We have such a
Oh,
time difference.
Yeah, yeah,
We got
yeah.
to
That's
figure
neat,
something out.
man.
But I want to have him on to talk about that caddy too, because that thing's fucking epic as well.
Epic. That thing is epic, dude. It's been
Dude.
epic for a long time,
Yeah.
and he's like pushing it, pushing it, pushing it,
Yeah, dude.
and it's like, oh, at this point, it's like next level for
Dude,
sure,
it's
man.
so sick. Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
I've been going back with him and back and forth with him to have him on the podcast too, talk about it.
yeah.
Dude, it's been
And then
so fun. Like just,
the it's dope. The VW scene is a super tiny world, man.
it
Because
is.
for sure, you know someone that I know, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And the crazy part was Kevin at Euro Image, man. I've been friends with
Everybody
Kevin
knows
forever.
Kevin.
Yeah,
Dude, he's
dude.
like
He used to send
everybody's.
me. He used to send me cool shirts, and like if he would make cool stickers, he was always hooking me up, man. Like,
So he's gonna
and
come.
if
I keep bugging him to come on the podcast, but he wants to do it in person. So he's
oh,
supposed to take
okay,
a trip up here within the next month or so, and he wants to actually
nice.
do it in person. So we're trying to hook up to where he can get out here. I think he might go somewhere out west, and I'll fucking drive and pick his ass up and drag his ass over here if I need to, you know,
Right.
to get him on the podcast. But he's definitely gonna come on. But yeah, it's super funny, dude. He's
Hmm.
everyone's common homie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah. I
texting back
used.
and forth with my buddy Cam, and Cam was like, "You know Cam too, then, right? You know Cam." Um,
Yeah.
I was texting back and forth with him, and he's like, "I've known Kevin." I forgot what he said, but I was like, "Dude, I've been hanging out with Kevin since before Euro Image was even a company," and he was like, "All right, you win." Me and Kevin
That's
go way
awesome.
back. That dude's such a good homie. But yeah, dude, like I love that how everything like man, you know, we've kind of touched on it in this podcast before with other guests, like how like the Volkswagen scene's kind of getting like splintered. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's
Versus like
in a bad way.
yeah, but
It's
I feel like the more people I talk to, like you and Johnny and Greg, like dude, we're still
yeah.
holding it down, dude. Like
Oh
the
yeah. Like
core
all
is
the
still holding it
OGs.
down, dude. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. All I feel like all the OGs like that's been in the scene since like the early like 99 up. I
Hmm.
feel like everyone is still because we all did the same thing for the same reason.
Yeah.
But now it's like people are not doing it for that reason. I
No,
feel
dude.
like it's and when you're mentioning people get that stupid like tune the
Yeah.
to make noise and it's like come on man like
Dude, that's I
and
think that's like that's all the fake shit though. I think this is the
yeah
scene. This is the
yeah
scene right here. You know what
yeah
I mean? It's just we're a little more spread out now. That's
that's
all.
right
We're a little older, we got a little more responsibilities, but I still
yeah
think like you know the cores we're holding it down, dude. And like man, I'm
oh
just
yeah
so excited to be able to do this and like fucking talk to you and Greg and Johnny, and I'm gonna keep it going, dude, and just you know
yeah
fucking
hell yeah.
this thing's gonna be sick.
That's so cool that like Colin was on and I always found like his stuff was interesting. Like Colin's a cool dude,
Dude,
and I
he's a
met
cool
him
dude,
because he
dude.
used to weld stuff for like a friend of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I kind of met him.
See,
So
it's
like
crazy.
yeah, it's
We're all
crazy. And
one
then
big happy family, dude.
yeah, do you know any of the Narlo boys from like Portland and
Dude,
stuff?
I don't. I've met a couple of them. I don't know them personally, but I've gone back and
Yeah,
forth with a couple of them, like DMs.
yeah,
But I don't like know them like personally.
yeah. Like those dudes are like I know them really well, like
Hmm.
most of them,
Definitely
and
know
man,
of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
they used to when I used to go to Portland, I was always hanging out with them and they're like so cool and we do cool stuff and they always had cool Mercedes and
Yeah.
like slam Mark
Everything
ones and
slammed.
like
Yeah.
yeah, everything slammed then to to the nines. But
Dude.
yeah.
We're holding it down, bro. But I want to thank you
Yeah.
for coming and chatting. And as
Hell
I
yeah.
tell everybody, this isn't the first time, man. I'm gonna have like everybody back on the pod. I'm gonna have like 30. I'm gonna do like 30 guests, and then I'll just stop right there, and then just keep recycling through everybody. Because I know you
So
got
like
more stories for days.
oh yeah, but I have a question for you.
What's that?
Something that kind of like that was kind of weird when I went to like Portland for the first time, or actually not really in Portland, but in the States, as like when I went there the first time,
Uh
and
huh.
when I was ordering pizza, it said on the menu, uh, Canadian bacon and pineapple pizza.
It's Hawaiian.
I'm like, what do they mean? What is Canadian bacon? So I get that pizza, and the lady shows up, and I look at it, and I'm like, dude, that's Hawaiian pizza, and that's ham. What do you mean Canadian bacon? What is Canadian bacon? Bacon is bacon, and ham is ham. Like I don't get it.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
from Canada, and I've never
Dude,
seen Canadian bacon.
that has to be
Like,
explained to me as well. I'm actually from Hawaii, and that's funny. I'm like, dude, let's talk about pizza real fast. because
Hell yeah.
you're a pizza connoisseur. So
Yeah.
pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Oh yeah, of
You're hell
course.
yeah.
Because I feel like when the pineapple cooks, it kind of like it release like some sort of juice, and it's so good, man. I don't know.
I
People think it's crazy and it's disgusting, and you like
I'm a
they
little
did like
nuanced. For me, you can't just
right.
throw pineapple on the pizza. It has to be spicy. Something has to be
Okay.
spicy. So like
Okay.
the
Yeah.
sauce has to be spicy,
To be
or
spicy or
peppers. There has
yeah.
to be a
Yeah.
spice
Yeah.
with it. You can't just throw like pepperoni, or you can't just throw pineapples on like a, fucking any pizza,
Yeah.
and then it tastes good. That's
Makes
my
sense.
opinion.
And like a lot of people always ask me like, "What's your favorite pizza?" I can't say what my favorite pizza is because it depends on the location.
Mm.
You know, I tried Chicago deep dish in Chicago and it was freaking amazing. But I
Mm-hmm.
try also deep dish in New York and it was awful. It's like it depends. Like and Portland has amazing pizza too. Like they have like super thin slices that are like, super long and they have
Yeah.
like all kinds of stuff and
Mm-hmm. Your
but yeah.
fusion slices.
Yeah, but my go-to is like the original pepperoni and cheese, man.
There
Like
you go, dude.
just
Yeah,
just
you can't fuck with
plain
that.
and simple. You
Yeah,
can't.
dude.
I feel yeah.
Well, dude, thanks again
Hell
for
yeah.
doing the pod ski. Dude,
Very welcome.
I'm definitely will keep in touch, man. I'm super stoked on what you got going on with that truck and just everything, dude.
Hell yeah.
So keep in touch,
Appreciate it.
man. Thanks again
N-
so much. Is there anyone you
Yeah.
want to shout out before we end
Oof.
this thing?
I don't know, just like all the homies that's been helping me with the truck, really. My good buddy Anthony and my all the Daves, the triple Daves, and yeah, like all the homies that been giving me a hand, man. My friend John for the body work and all his like knowledge and stuff, and yeah,
That's
that's
sick,
about
dude.
it. And, oh, and my girlfriend of all things, Lisa, man, she's like holding the ship.
Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to
Yeah,
the homies. Dude,
that's
Mark,
right.
I appreciate you,
Yeah.
dude.
Thank you so much for having me. Next time we have to talk about punk rock, man.
Fuck yeah, dude. We
We
forgot a lot of
forgot
stuff.
we forgot about that, man. But we gotta do it. I know
Yeah,
you
that's
like the Misfits. Do you like Descendants?
fuck yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. I got a Milo tattoo, man. Descendants, is my favorite
Descendants,
band.
all I like everything that
Oh,
they do.
they wrote the story of my life. Those dudes, man.
Yeah, fuck for sure, dude.
So
We'll
good.
get into punk rock
Yeah.
next time. I know you're a
Hell yeah.
BMXer. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about
Yeah.
some, action sports. I'm a
Skate parks
skateboarder,
and yeah.
so
I actually grew up with skateboarders, so I know a lot about
I
skateboarding.
have a lot of close homies who are BMX riders, dude.
Yeah.
So
The 411s and all that stuff, man.
All
Remember
right,
all that.
dude.
Sick.
We'll do
All
it
right.
again, Mark.
Hell yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks for
bro.
having me, man.
Later.
Have a good night. Peace.